Welcome to Newbie Sports. The BYU Cougars have just defeated Iowa State to move to 8-0 for the second consecutive season for the first time in program history. I just wanted to start by saying that I picked BYU to win this game 24-17, and I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. 41-27. 41-27. That's a statement win, and we were favored to lose this game yet again. BYU has been the underdog in a lot of games that they have actually been performing better than their opponent. So hopefully that will change in the upcoming weeks. Maybe not against Texas Tech just yet, but hopefully the Cougs have demonstrated that they're not just some team. They're not just some team. We're maybe not playoff caliber yet. We still got to demonstrate that. But 8-0 is nothing to snuff at. 8-0 for the second consecutive season. First time in program's history, by the way. And we had a 31-3 run in this game. 31-3. That's a final game score. I'm currently filming this as Utah is putting a beat down on Colorado. So I'm just taking a break from that. 43 points in the first half for Utah. Wow. We'll get to that a little bit later in the video. But breaking down a few things here. The turnover battle really was the thing to get BYU this win. Right after that pick six to get us ahead by even more. I looked to my dad and we just high-fived each other, and I looked at him and I said, you know what that's called? You know what that's called? And we both said at the same time, game over. And it really wasn't. It really wasn't, because the other key concept of this game, clock management. Pet peeve I've had for the Cougs over the past couple of years, actually, has been clock management. And Kalani has said a couple times, oh yeah, that was my bad, I gotta fix that. Clock management has been a problem for the Cougs. Today, though, clock management was a big problem for Iowa State. On that concluding drive for Iowa State, they had all three timeouts in their pocket, and they didn't use any of them. My philosophy was, well, don't you want all three timeouts? If you're down multiple scores, don't you want all three timeouts to be able to give you a chance on that last drive to get down the field and do what you need to do? I have since switched my philosophy after this game. You got to use your timeouts. You got to give your team the opportunity to overcome. 2 scores is not unheard of to overcome. BYU has done it this season, in the last half of the first quarter, actually. So it can be done and has been done by BYU. So the game wasn't truly over after that pick six. It was effectively over. Iowa State had the chance to come back, though. And I think that a lot of those mistakes on that last couple of plays would not have happened had they called a timeout, slowed things down, and gathered them up. Now, I'm grateful as a Cougar fan because I love double-digit wins, especially when we were favored to lose. Once again, give the credit to the Cougars. More credit than what they've been given. But at the same time, you got to use your timeouts. And you got to use them to give yourself the opportunity to have a second drive at all. You can't just bank on being able to use them in your second drive. And maybe they'd given up at that point. I'm not in the coach's mind, and I hadn't seen the post-game interview. So maybe he addressed the timeouts. And if anyone sees any comments about why the timeouts were not used on that last drive, maybe drop a comment, and we can learn a little bit about what was going on there. But yeah, clock management was a major problem in that last drive, and we got to address a few elephants in the room. Yes, there was defensive holding on BYU. That was not called. Yes, there was pass interference on BYU. That was not called. There was also a wide open receiver for Iowa State who dropped what would have been a touchdown pass a couple of different times. there was another wide open receiver in the back of the end zone that was not able to get his foot in bounds. And me and my dad were laughing because there were some people behind that shot that were celebrating when he came down, and we gather that they didn't entirely understand that he landed out of bounds, so it doesn't count. But we were just chuckling a bit about that. Anyways, the Iowa State Cyclones had the opportunity to come up with an answer to BYU. And I don't think this is on Rocco Beck. I think he placed the ball right where he needed to place it a couple of different times. The team as a whole didn't meet what BYU gave them in that last half. And we can complain about refs. We can complain about bad situations. We can complain about... I saw a video about the NFL a couple of months ago about how Kansas City won the Super Bowl because of a fluke kick on the kickoff. You got to be aware of where the ball is on special teams. On a punt, on a kickoff, any of it. You got to be aware of where the ball is so that you can not do that mistake. And it's not a fluke. Calls go your way and calls don't go your way. Excellent teams capitalize on any of it. Rising up to the challenge of adversity is what this whole season has been about. When Jake left, everyone was like, too bad. Well, maybe when we get this other quarterback next year, you might have a chance to start building again. Bear Bachmeier has demonstrated that the Cougars are here, and the Cougars are here to stay. We might go to the Big 12 championship game. I am convinced that we're going to play Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game, but we'll break that down in subsequent weeks. I'm so grateful for this Cougar team. I'm so grateful for everything that they've done, and if I'm being honest, I do think this is a bigger win than last week. I think that Utah is a better team than Iowa State. Iowa State is a 3-loss team now, and Utah is putting an absolute smackdown on Colorado right now. 43 points in the first half. We'll break that down a little bit more with the weekly breakdown that I'll do next week. But Utah being the best team that we've played, and this being probably the best game that we've played, I'm so grateful for my Cougars. And let's wrap this up and let's go on to next week. I'll give you my updates on the rest of the key games in the early parts of next week. Go Cougs, and this has been Newbie Sports.